rocking slab of ice in the middle of a white ocean stretching beyond the horizon. No trees, no shelter, no way out. Only the wind slicing through your skin and a silence so deep, it's almost alive. But you are not alone. Something is watching you, a shadow wearing the shape of snow, so perfectly blended into the land it might as well be the Arctic itself. It makes no sound, leaves no trace. It moves with the precision of a killer, forged by millions of years of natural training. Each step a quiet declaration. There is no escape. You won't hear it. You won't see it. Not until the final moment, when its claws are already upon you. This is not legend, not a dramatized documentary. This is the real world. And that creature is the polar bear, the lone hunter, the embodiment of raw power, and, as many experts believe, truly the most dangerous predator on the planet. If you think you could survive the Arctic, imagine what happens when you fall within its sights, and it has nothing to prove to anyone. It only needs to hunt. If you're as fascinated by the mysteries of the animal kingdom and the incredible journeys of wildlife as we are, then you're in the right place. We're mysteries everywhere, and we bring you closer to nature's most awe-inspiring stories. If you love this video, please like and share it to let us know you want more. Comment below and tell us what you think or what mysteries you want us to explore next. And don't forget to subscribe to Mysteries Everywhere and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. This isn't your average bear. This is Ursus maritimus, a being carrying the legacy of millions of years of evolution, born not just to live, but to survive where life itself surrenders. While most animals retreat from the cold, it steps forward. When the wind slices through flesh and the sun disappears for months, it stands tall, unyielding, a white phantom guarding the northern extremes. Standing nearly 10 feet tall and weighing up to 1,500 pounds, the polar bear is the largest land carnivore on Earth. But what makes it truly terrifying isn't just its size. It's how it survives, alone, unarmed, without allies, and without error. Its white fur isn't just camouflage. It's a microscopic marvel. Each hair is hollow, channeling sunlight to its black skin beneath, which absorbs heat. Beneath the skin lies a fat layer over 4 inches thick, keeping it warm in temperatures as low as -50°C, while maintaining a stable body temperature of 37°C, just like humans. Its liver can process extremely high levels of vitamin A from seal livers, which would be toxic to other species. Its circulatory system is designed to optimize heat distribution, preventing its limbs from freezing even in the harshest conditions. Its paws, up to 12 inches wide, aren't just for movement. They're specialized biological tools, covered with tiny bumps and rough pads that provide grip on ice as smooth as glass, while distributing weight to prevent breaking through the ice during hunts. And then, there's its extraordinary sense of smell. A polar bear can detect a seal from nearly a mile away, even beneath nearly 3 feet of compacted snow. Its vision and hearing are also highly developed, allowing it to operate effectively both day and night. It doesn't need a pack, no elaborate plans, no luck, just a target and a deadly silence. It can swim continuously for over 60 miles, battling large waves and freezing waters without exhaustion. No other land predator can match that. Compared to brown or black bears, the polar bear isn't just different. It's the pinnacle of cold weather adaptation. Its body is more streamlined with a longer neck, allowing it to reach out of the water while stalking prey. Larger limbs to smash ice, dig through snow, or crush prey with a single swipe. The polar bear doesn't hunt the most, but every hunt ends decisively. It doesn't roar, doesn't warn. It simply approaches silently until it's close enough to strike, in absolute silence. The polar bear's world isn't a gentle nature scene. It's a frozen battlefield, where life and death are separated by a single breath. Here, meat isn't just a meal, it's a lifeline. An adult bear needs at least 10 pounds of seal fat daily to keep its massive body from wasting away in the bone-chilling cold. But this world offers no mercy. Sometimes it must travel dozens of miles across fractured terrain and biting winds, only to end in a failed strike. And when prey vanishes, it doesn't scream, doesn't despair, it quietly waits. Thanks to a rare metabolic flexibility, the polar bear can fast for over 10 days, entering a state of low activity without losing strength. Its body reduces energy expenditure, like a biological machine entering conservation mode, ready to explode into action the moment opportunity arises. Winter in the Arctic is unlike anywhere else on Earth. Light disappears for weeks, leaving behind an extended cold and hopeless night. Winds can howl at over 60 miles per hour, carrying snow and ice like invisible saw blades, scattering even massive ice blocks. In that darkness, vision becomes nearly useless. Hunting is no longer a game of sight, but a survival instinct. A combination of extraordinary smell, acute hearing, and an unyielding will. Only the strongest, most resilient, and coldest creatures survive here. And the polar bear doesn't just survive, it dominates. It moves like vapor gliding over snow, silent, leaving no trace. One moment, it's a motionless figure against the cold white backdrop. The next, it's a white arrow shooting forward, without warning, without hesitation. Seals surface to breathe. For them, air is life. But for the bear, it's the singular moment between life and death. It can lie still for hours beside a single breathing hole, motionless, unblinking, blending into the surroundings, becoming part of the cold, the snow, the Arctic itself. And when the moment comes, the attack happens in a flash. Fast, precise, rarely failing. The polar bear's primary diet consists of ringed and bearded seals, fat-rich species providing high energy to combat the harsh cold. The bear targets the thick blubber beneath the prey's skin as its vital fuel. But it's not limited to seals. During lean months, it may eat fish, scavenge animal carcasses, bird eggs, or even seaweed washed ashore. Some individuals hunt birds, gnaw on bones, or consume seagrass, anything that provides calories. In areas near humans, bears have been found rummaging through garbage dumps, eating waste or stranded whale carcasses. However, these are temporary solutions. Nothing replaces seal blubber, the only energy source sufficient to sustain its massive body through the long winter. But the world is changing. Ice is melting, breathing holes are disappearing, prey is moving away. Survival opportunities diminish with each cracking ice floe. Now the bear can't just wait, it must pursue. It lowers its massive body, crawling across the snow, transforming into a silent streak in the white expanse. It dives into freezing seas, swimming through drifting ice, chasing whatever remains in the melting ocean. Studies have recorded the seemingly impossible. Polar bears swimming continuously over 60 miles in a single journey. Some individuals have been tracked covering up to 427 miles over 9 days. Alone, without rest, just to find ice, find prey, find a chance to survive. Unlike lions hunting in prides, unlike wolves coordinating attacks, the polar bear hunts alone, and that solitude becomes its most terrifying weapon. Absolute silence, no alarms, no signs, only death descending in a white shroud. As the ocean reshapes itself, the ruler of this realm doesn't wait for luck. It decides. It reorders the chaos with instincts as cold as steel. The polar bear has never lived on easy mode. When the ice retreats, it doesn't mourn. It pivots. It reclaims territory. It starts again from the rubble left behind by a broken environment. Its familiar hunting grounds are gone. Now it edges closer to sheer rock cliffs, where the wind howls and the land is jagged and unforgiving. There it searches for seabird nests, not because they're tempting, but because they're all that's left. In brutal conditions, pride falls away. There is no choice, only survival. But when opportunity comes, the bear does not hesitate to confront foes larger and far more dangerous. The walrus, a living tank of the Arctic. An adult can weigh over 2,000 pounds with twin ivory tusks that can grow up to 3 feet long. They use them to defend themselves, to dig for food, and to assert dominance within the herd. Their skin is nearly an inch thick, with a dense layer of insulating blubber underneath. It shields them from the cold and from injury. In numbers, they form a wall of flesh, a fortress. Hard to breach, harder to separate, and the bear knows this. It doesn't strike blindly. It waits. It targets the young, the ones left behind, or the tired males after battle. One wrong move, and the bear could be impaled by a tusk. But with precision, with patience, it claims a rare prize. A meal dense with fat, rich enough to sustain life for days. Then there's the narwhal, the unicorn of the sea, mysterious, mythical. Narwhals are small whales growing up to 16 feet long. They live in icy waters near Greenland, Canada, and the Arctic Ocean. The males bear a long, spiral tusk, up to 10 feet, actually an elongated tooth that pierces through their upper lip. Fairy tale on the outside. But in truth, narwhals are agile, alert, and incredibly hard to reach. They spend most of their lives in deep, dark waters, far beyond the bear's grasp. But they must come up to breathe. And that single breath is the bear's one chance. No noise, no mistakes. One swift blow, and the legend falls. In this frozen contest of blood and ice, the bear doesn't win with size. It wins with timing, with patience, and with a mind as sharp and cold as the Arctic waters. Not every hunt is a battle against giants. When needed, the bear stalks the tidal flats, where schools of small fish gather near the shore. With claws like sickles, it scoops them out one by one, flinging them onto the snow. It's not a feast, but it's enough to keep the fire of life burning for another day. The polar bear has no teammates, no assigned roles, no one to call for backup. It is the entire operation contained within a single body. Its victories don't come from past glory. They come from the ability to reinvent itself amid chaos. It was not born to cling to what once was. It was born to master what is coming next. In the realm of ice and wind, it has virtually no rivals. But even the ruler can't avoid unexpected clashes. Rare challengers, sometimes from unforeseen places. Arctic wolves occasionally trail the bear's footsteps, not to attack, but to await opportunity. They hope to scavenge leftovers from a meal, avoiding direct confrontation. Facing an adult bear isn't a battle, it's a death sentence. However, true challengers come from overlooked quarters. Coastal gulls, seemingly fragile, can become so aggressive that bears retreat when these birds defend their nests. Despite their small size, their fierce nature drives them to confront the giant to protect their eggs. In the deep Arctic waters, Greenland sharks, ancient predators living up to 4 centuries and moving silently in darkness, occasionally interact indirectly with bears. Though rare, their presence in the same ecosystem raises new scientific questions about relationships among top-tier Arctic creatures. Then there's humanity, the new intruder of the Arctic. With research stations, icebreakers, emissions, and firearms, humans gradually infiltrate the icy domain. Dog sled teams, explorers, and Arctic residents leave footprints in territories once solely the bears. Human presence increasingly alters the apex predator's behavior, from movement patterns to prey selection and hunting times. Encounters between humans and bears, though rare, are no myth. Bears have attacked camps. Humans have fired warning shots. And at times, the hunter has been forced to retreat. Not all creatures bow before the bear. And it's these rare confrontations that force the polar bear, a creature born to rule, to tread more cautiously in a world that's rapidly changing. The Arctic is no longer silent. It cries out in the sound of breaking ice, in the stench of decaying flesh, in the staggering steps of a predator once at the peak of the food chain. The ice is dying, and the polar bear, the ultimate predator of the North, is being pushed into a corner. The endless white plains are gone. The breathing holes have vanished. Only black water remains, frozen rocks, empty echoes of a world that once was. The polar bear, once king of the frozen realm, now wanders through unfamiliar terrain. Gravel, trash, human footprints. It no longer walks as a hunter. It drifts like the ghost of a dying age. No longer hunting, only scavenging. No longer choosing, only enduring. It doesn't die quickly. It fades day by day, season by season, with each melting tide. No blood, no roar, just eyes that still search, a belly that still aches, and a world that has turned its back. Scientists document every change. Changes in sleep patterns, in daily activity, in diet, from predator to scavenger. And in the most desperate conditions, they turn on one another. Some steal food from others. Some kill cubs that aren't their own. Some mothers abandon their young in the night and never return. Not because they are cruel, because they are dying, and survival knows no mercy. Yet even in the darkest night, some do not bow. There are still bears learning to walk where no ice remains, climbing over rock, sniffing out seaweed, wading through mudflats. They have not surrendered. They are betting on what little is left. And the question is no longer, will the polar bear survive? The real question is, will we keep watching, or will we be the last generation that can still choose? The polar bear is not just a predator. It is the last pillar of life at the edge of the world. With no pack and no permanent shelter, it carries the burden of survival and renewal, alone. Mating season runs from April to June. During this time, males begin a frenzied journey across the ice, following the faint scent trail of females. They may travel hundreds of miles just to find a mate, and when they do, the battle begins. Two males can crash into each other like armored tanks, clawing, biting, and wrestling on the ice like silent gladiators. No blood, no roars, just brute strength, patience, and unrelenting power. Only the victor earns the right to mate, but even he is not guaranteed offspring. Because the polar bear hides a secret. Fertilized eggs do not begin development right away. They wait. Wait until the female has stored enough fat, enough to survive months without food, enough to nourish new life in total darkness and relentless cold. If her body doesn't reach the threshold, the embryo will never grow. No compromise, no half measures. If successful, the female digs a snow den in autumn. As the snow piles high and the air freezes solid, she disappears into the dark, not eating, not drinking, not moving, for months. And in that snow, where life seems impossible, a miracle occurs. Cubs are born. Usually two, each barely a pound. So small they could disappear into a glove. The mother lies still, unmoving. All her energy focused on two things: staying warm and feeding her young. Her milk is thick as cream and among the richest in the animal kingdom. Over 30% fat, the only fuel that can sustain the cubs through their first fragile weeks. By spring, as the snow begins to melt, the trio emerges from the den. The cubs are larger now, stronger, but still fragile in a world of ice and threats. The mother teaches them to walk, to hunt, to avoid the deadly traps hidden in the snow. Life begins in blood, in hunger, in shadow, and in bravery. Not all cubs survive. Not all mothers make it far. But each cub that emerges onto the ice is the result of a chain of miracles, built from instinct, suffering, sacrifice, and time. The polar bear doesn't give birth because it wants to. It gives birth only when conditions allow life to truly begin. This is not ordinary selection. This is nature at its most ruthless, in its most magnificent. If one day you look toward the Arctic and spot a lone white figure on the horizon, don't see it as just an animal. You are witnessing resilience carved into shape. You are seeing life that refuses to kneel. The polar bear is not just an apex predator. It is a living warning, a silent oath from nature that says, I once was undefeated. But the ice beneath it is thinning with every season. Not because the bear changed, because we changed the world too fast. The question now is not, can the bear adapt? It is, can we, the ones who call ourselves civilized, be brave enough to stop turning away? Protecting this creature is not just about saving a species. It's about protecting the last untouched places on Earth. It's about preserving the final lesson on the balance between power and restraint. It's about reminding ourselves that if the mightiest can fall, then no one is invincible in a world off balance. If this story has moved you, don't let it end here. Let the message carry forward. Let your compassion move beyond a glance. Share it. Pass it on. Subscribe so you don't miss the next breathtaking journey from the wild, before the wild can no longer speak for itself. Thank you for listening, for feeling, and for walking beside us in this story from the edge of the world.